I would also like to, like others, thank Director General Ghebreyesus and Director General Gilani for their briefings. The current round of Israeli-Palestinian conflict has been going on for 35 days now, and the situation continues to deteriorate. When tens of thousands of people, including more than 4,000 children, have lost their lives, when more than 1.6 million people have been forced to flee their homes, when 2.3 million people continue to be cut off from water, electricity, fuel, food, and medicine, and when hospitals, schools, refugee camps, and UN facilities have been frequently targeted, this is not only a humanitarian crisis, but it's more also a crisis of humanity, as described by Secretary General Guterres. This morning, in my capacity as President of the Council, I met with the representatives of Palestine and other Arab countries and those from the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. From our conversation, I was deeply struck by the pain they have deep in their hearts. I was struck by their expectation for resumption of peace and by their expectation for the Council to take effective action. In the face of all this, the world must speak out together. Enough is enough. In the face of all this, the Security Council must do away with the obstruction and interference of some members and take immediate, responsible, and meaningful action to uphold justice and maintain peace. A ceasefire and a halt to the fighting must be put in place without delay. A ceasefire is by no means a diplomatic statement. It is the only hope for the people of Gaza to survive. We call on all parties, especially the major power that has the unique influence on the parties, to put aside all geopolitical considerations and double standards, focus all efforts on the goal of a ceasefire and an end to the fighting. We urge Israel to curb the intensifying settler violence in the West Bank and to avoid this concurring hotspot and the spread of conflict. The protection of civilians cannot be delayed. We condemn all violence and attacks against civilians. We express our grave concern at and strong opposition to the clear violations of international humanitarian law in Gaza. We urge an end to the collective punishment of civilians. We demand that the physical safety and humanitarian needs of detainees be guaranteed and call for diplomatic efforts to facilitate their early release. There is no time to lose in saving lives. More than 1,300 children and their families are trapped in the rubble. We support the Council in taking urgent action in this regard to facilitate a sustained truce of multiple days and an immediate opening of a green corridor for specialized agencies and equipment to enter Gaza to carry out search and rescue operations so as to do our utmost to save children. The Council should also respond to the joint appeal made by Director General Ghebreyesus and Commissioner General Lazzarini to promote the establishment of a medical evacuation mechanism so that pregnant women and those seriously injured and the sick in Gaza can be transferred and treated in a timely manner. The resumption of supply deliveries is urgent. We call on Israel to immediately lift the blockade and completely remove restrictions on livelihood supplies, especially fuel delivery to humanitarian and medical institutions and livelihood facilities. Over the past 2 weeks, just over 500 trucks have entered Gaza through the Rafah crossing, which is a drop in the bucket for the people of Gaza who are struggling on the brink of death. All crossings into Gaza should be utilized. And the Kerem Shalom crossing should be opened as soon as possible. Colleagues, These days, we also hear frequent discussions about the day after for Gaza. Regarding this point, it must be pointed out that no arrangement for Gaza can be imposed on the Palestinian people. No solution to the current situation can deviate from the two-state solution. The future of Palestine must be and can only be decided by the Palestinian people themselves. China is ready to continue to work with the international community to make our unremitting efforts to bring an early end to the fighting and alleviate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, achieve peaceful coexistence between the Palestinians and Israelis, and realize long-term peace and security in the Middle East.